Welcome back to the podcast. This is
an episode.
Part 2.
Part 2 with Daniel Moon. I don't know. We're considering changing our name. As of right now, I don't know yet. But we are Millennial Pro
I want to be
Wrestling.
Brendan Devine and forget to change names.
Nope.
That's not what he means.
That's not what I
Then
meant.
why would you want to be the worst name out of all three of us?
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm here with Brendan Devine and Brendan Devine.
Yes.
So anyways, we're here with Daniel Moon, the third Millennial, our tag team partner.
Who's the first millennial? Is it me?
I don't know.
You're the third, so you know what I mean?
I'd be the first. I'm the oldest.
I don't know.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Have we ever told the story of the Millennials? Like how we became the Millennials?
I think we alluded to it because you talked about Justin fixing the name.
Well, maybe we'll definitely.
But that was after we had already become what we were.
We'll talk about
Should
it.
we go into the story of the millennials? I guess that has to do with him.
He's the third one, so
I'm the first one,
he's the first one.
but
Okay.
also the third.
So, anyways, the journey of this episode will probably get there.
We'll get there.
We'll try to stay on track a little bit.
That'll be us. Like, that's the little teaser at the start of the episode, and then you go back to it at the end.
Yeah.
That's how we'll close it probably.
You're talking to me as if we haven't started recording this podcast.
No, I did it on purpose. It kind of peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And then you.
If there's no
Come on,
curtain,
Brendan.
That's a wall.
So anyway, we left off last week or whenever to you.
What do you mean?
Like episode. We left off, give or take 5 minutes ago, with you trained at Millennium.
Yes,
we started doing shows. We become friends. We teach Brendan. Brendan's debuts. Let's talk about Brendan's debut. Let's talk about Brendan's debut a little bit because that was a huge day for us and a huge, I think, pivotal moment for us career-wise. Thinking about it now and how we call matches and structure them and stuff like that. So, Brendan, what is wrong with you?
I'm thinking of.
So, Daniel Moon and I became the feud at MPW, right? We were the Batman and Joker of the promotion. Everybody wanted us to fight.
Also, with retrospect, I understand why we never got to wrestle a bunch.
It makes perfect sense. It just pisses me off.
Because if I were a booker, I would also not put us together. Simply because that'd be like, if I'm Paul, like that's my money match. I don't want to give it away every week.
And it was 2 anniversary shows in a row.
Yeah. I know, and then it was the Millennium Cup. We'll get into. I
Yeah.
will get into that, but yes, exactly to your point. Is so we were kind of like we do that WWE thing where like we'd have tag matches and stuff, or like you were always the guy that came out and beat people up, and then I would save people, and we like everybody wanted us to fight again, but like we weren't gonna, and we just developed this feud. So I had another tag team partner at the time. That was
Club and Cody,
who actually I met he was my first friend in wrestling. Daniel Moon was my second.
Aww.
But Club and Cody was my first tag team partner. I'd said to him before we did a student showcase, I said, my dream is to just be tag team champions with you. We ended up doing it for a whole week. But so him and
For the dark times.
Cody was your first. Cody was my first. What a slut.
What? He was. Was he your first partner or your first friend?
My first tag team partner.
Yeah, your first tag team partner.
I think
because she betrayed me to be with you.
he upgraded.
Oh my!
Hey, whoa!
We're gonna
Cody
fight.
betrayed you so that like I could.
Yeah, not worth
That
it.
was also a weird night.
So okay, so that's what I'm about to talk about.
We'll get
So
into it.
Cody was my first tag team partner, and so Daniel Moon's the bad guy. Me and Cody are good guys, and Paul. That we knew that you were getting trained. You were going to
I'd
classes.
already had like a couple of matches in January, February.
And we touched on it briefly in episode 1. You were not Brendan Devine as your first couple matches. You were under a hood.
I was Ja Rasta.
Right. So Ja Rasta kind of became the promotions, like a bunch of people were Ja Rasta.
I don't actually, that was the plan. I think the only two people who were Ja Rasta were you and me.
I thought there was somebody
No,
else.
somebody else must have been.
I don't think so. I think
so.
it was just you and I. And
So
it
Ja
or
Rasta was
it
just
was a
me and
La Parka
Brennan.
mask.
Yes.
And a Bob Marley t-shirt.
with a weed gimmick.
He smoked weed.
Yeah, the booker thought it was the funniest thing in the world. He's like, Ja Rasta, it's going to be perfect.
It was like the Caribbean god of marijuana or something. That was the name came from.
It was the most horrible backyard looking gimmick of all time. I was your old gear.
Yeah.
It was your old tights that looked like weed. It looked like a weed
Oh,
leaf
yeah.
on the front.
because they tore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you were that you're under
was
the
that.
hood because we wanted to debut you when you were ready, but as like a character. So we did this whole thing where Daniel Moon or Cody was my partner, and I was fighting me and Cody versus Daniel Moon, a mystery partner, and everybody thought it was going to be Aurora Star.
Yeah, because she was the
Peyton,
manager.
your girlfriend, who was your manager, who hated you thought was going to hate wrestling, became your manager. We were going to be this was it, but the mystery partner ended up being Cody, and he betrayed me and became your partner.
There was a lot of people there that day.
It was,
That was a
which was
sold-out
good for
show,
the angle,
yeah.
and like this comes into us getting more storytelling,
Yes.
and like it was like hot tag time, and Daniel was crawling over to Cody, and Cody did the classic jump off thing.
Yeah, no way.
But then something like I don't think I've ever seen before is he walked around the ring, got on my side, I tagged him in,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
beat
like,
this jabroni.
also, like, that's not how tag team wrestling works.
but do you
just
remember-
switch teams?
storytelling.
do you remember anything else about that match? Because I do.
That's all I remember.
We tried to do
Oh,
Ricochet, Will Ospreay
my
type of stuff,
God.
So you were
and
just exhausted.
we
blown.
got so blown, and it looked so awful because this is why
Sloppy.
we had come up with a bunch of sequences like leapfrog, duck this, move this, head scissors, land on your feet, all this stuff.
It was the
We came up
year
with, like-
they got the big publicity
Yes.
for their spot.
So we came up with like 3 or 4 of those, but like our versions. And nowadays I look back and I go, okay, pick a sequence and you do that. We thought, let's do all of them.
in this match where you have no tag team partner and you're doing this big heel turn,
It
you
was
choose then to do
ridiculous.
the crazy
We
flip
could
match?
have milked it and slow chained, little bit of and just
I could have put on some heavy heat on
it
you.
just been a shine
and-
and then a heavy heat where my leg was busted and I kept trying to get to the tag but I couldn't. But instead we did this BS where I was like Mr. Macho and everyone's like, tag out, you
It
idiot.
actually kind of worked out better.
Yeah,
I guess in the way, because like when Cody jumped off, they were like, "Oh,
It got a reaction. It got a
but
reaction.
imagine if he had jumped off.
Yeah.
If I really
If
had
he needed
the
it.
tag.
Oh, that would have been better."
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And like I'm thinking about it now. Like if I'd
it would've
really
been
made it
better.
out,
So
and
we-
then you betrayed. Anyway,
Jumps on the other team.
we're booking this match that happened 5 years ago.
You jumped new team. It was not 5 years ago. It was like 2 years ago
3
or 3 years ago. It was in.
It was my first
It
year.
was in. It was in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was
3
3 years ago.
Okay. Regardless, so Brendan, you had been in the crowd. You came to every show and were watching.
Yeah.
So
But this being your hometown, everybody knows
So
that you're his
I'd have
brother.
to wrestle as Ja Rasta, change, and then make me sit in the audience.
right. So then you
No one noticed.
so Cody betrays me. They start beating the shit out of me.
Good.
They're doing the. It was like the holding me and just super kicking me over and over and over again. So you get fed up. You slide in the ring.
Funny bit about that. You're getting beat up. I am sitting on like the side corner, Aurora Star, in the only place that I need to slide into. So I remember I was like, she is 100% in my way. And like, I can't like go to a different spot because there's people's
Right.
legs like in the way. So I was just like,
It was packed.
so when I get in, it's the weirdest like slide.
I'm gonna
shimmy.
put the clip
You'll
over
see
our
how
footage.
awkward it is, and then you see her go like, "Oh shoot!" and shit like runs away. Then I come in and I'm like, "I'm the skinniest man in the world, so come and fight me."
You cut a very good promo, in my opinion. 'cause
I have no idea.
It felt very fiery.
I remember I hit the ropes wrong, and then I gave you guys a double clothesline, and then I was like, "Yeah, I'm wearing jeans and a v-neck."
The only thing that was wrong with it is the audio had a lot of feedback.
I don't remember.
But it was pretty good, I think.
So you throw them out. We throw down the challenge of the two of us
Brothers Divine.
versus the two of you guys at our big California Classic show. And now that show was super important because Funhouse,
James and Lawrence.
James and Lawrence,
That's right.
James Willems and Lawrence Sontag,
Sontag.
they were doing a documentary for Rooster Teeth where they spent a week trying to be wrestlers and then wrestled. You remember that?
Oh, I remember
So
because
we
that
had the chance to be the tag match. And I've never put, to this day, more work into a match than I did that night.
it was I think my first high pressure match.
Yeah.
It was one of those you guys, this is what you guys want.
Yeah.
So like prove that you deserve it.
Yeah. You want to wrestle all your friends, go do it.
Go do it. And we put weeks and weeks, because this angle was booked out in advance. We put weeks of thought into this match.
It said you're having the match on April 1st.
Be ready. And they
Be
told us
ready,
that
and this was like in January.
Yeah.
Oh, this also, I never really took into account the amount of pressure that it took, because I saw from my perspective and our perspective, like, we're finally getting what we want. We better knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, you're a character on the show. Don't screw it up.
Well, it was, and I remember I have we all have fond memories of that match and that night, but like, so, April 1st was the day after I turned 22. It was like, I remember it was like, I went out like for a hike with my girlfriend, and we were like walking around, and I was like, I have this big like wrestling match tomorrow. Like, that's so crazy. And like, I'm going to get to be not like this hooded character. I'm going to get to be like a real character, tag team with my brother in this like big show. And like, I think a lot of people are going to go, and like a lot of people went.
Still to this day, the most people I've ever wrestled in front of.
I think
there was like 400 people there.
It was a lot of people there. And I just remember it was a match that you felt nothing. And when it was over, you were just like, wow, this is why people do drugs, to feel like this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
And the things about it that I remember is, so Daniel and I, this was at the peak of us being obsessed with understanding what storytelling and psychology was. We were obsessed with understanding why. And I remember that this is how I remember it. Your finish at the time was the package pile driver.
Mm-hmm.
And
because you're a big man.
And he couldn't beat me ever or keep me down unless he hit me with the package pile driver. When he hit me with the package pile driver, I was done. Because he had beat me in like a Millennium match or whatever, and that's what finally kept me down. Anyway. So you and I had been practicing the Canadian Destroyer before everyone did it in every match. Not really before, but we didn't know. We were in our bubble.
We were in the bubble big time.
For MPW, it was unheard of.
Yeah.
Nobody did it.
Yeah.
And for all these Rooster Teeth fans, Funhouse fans,
dear Lord, yeah.
So we thought, okay, the Canadian Destroyer is a pile driver. It's like a huge thing. So we thought, I'm going to hit him with an even cooler pile driver because he's been hitting me with pile drivers for months. So we had, I remember us saving that and being like, this is, putting that into thought, this is going to be a big thing.
And adding the drama of I hit you with the package pile driver, and here comes Brendan trying to slide in. Cody grabs him. 1, 2, everyone.
That match was better than I had any business being in a match that was as good as that one was. Yeah,
I look at it now and I go, even mechanically, I'm annoyed with it in some aspects.
There's some things. Pacing is what I don't like.
Yeah, but structurally, it's not bad.
Oh, no.
And it was super entertaining for everyone that watched it. And we did a lot of pretty cool sequences and stuff in there. It's the best. You did the springboard into the 3D.
Oh yeah, that's
we
the best.
Nailed it.
We've never done it again since because
you used to do the Jerry Lynn bomb, and I was doing we did a bunch of cool stuff. And looking back on it, it was your first match as yourself, unmasked. Cody can't remember anything.
No, not a remember.
Love Cody to death. Can't remember anything. Had not a ton of matches, and every match you wrestle Cody, it's talk to me in there because I have no idea. But Cody is
so much respect for Cody because he knows, but he's always just tell me what's going on out there. Maybe don't worry about it.
I love it.
I say this about Cody though, super easy to lead.
Oh yeah,
and he's the strongest man in the world.
Even right now, there are guys trained wrestlers who, if you were to tell me I had to lead them, it would be a pain in the butt. But if I grabbed Cody, I could lead him through a better match.
He's so easy to move, and
he'll
because
so
he has
athletic.
the humility to know, you know more. So I'm just gonna do what you want.
And he can do something naturally that a lot of people don't know how to do naturally, which is sell.
Yep.
He can just get beat up
big time,
and that's it. Sometimes he overdoes it, but hey. But regardless, so we have this match. So you and I are the generals of this match on opposite teams.
Yep.
Trying to figure out how to do this. And I just remember that match being amazing and having a blast. People came up to us afterwards hey, we came to watch Rooster Teeth, but you guys stole the show.
Yeah, a guy came up to me the next week. He saw me at a gas station. He was like, I used to wrestling, and then you fall out of it in high school, but I'm really into Rooster Teeth and Funhouse now, and seeing that send me more stuff that you guys do. I'm gonna come to your shows and things like that. And I was like, that's what a pro wrestler wants more than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
He wants someone else to be into wrestling because of them.
It was I think still to this day one of the top 5 nights of my career.
Oh, yeah.
When we did that.
It was a surreal. If I've ever gotten close to an out of body experience, it would have been from that night, like of just pure like that could not have gone better.
I'm with it, yeah.
Like the fans were all with it, and it was just ugh.
It was awesome. Awesome.
And we were all the 4 of us were because we were the clique of MPW.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Nobody wanted to hang out with us.
no,
and we didn't want to hang out with anyone else.
See,
That's not true.
People
I
wanna
think,
hang out with us, I
yeah, I think we were.
not to sound like the
mean
bitchy
girls,
popular
yeah.
kids, but like you guys were the stars, and I was an in because I was your brother, and Cody, and everyone loved Cody, so it was just like. But like
He's
the
a very
4 of
likable
us
guy.
definitely like we were on the journey. Like it was the 4 of us that like were training and working and like together, and so that was our big payoff. I remember.
There was also something really, really important about that night because it was our taste of kind of understanding what being a worker was. Like it was the first big mouthful of it. Like, oh, okay, I get it. And the irony of starting to understand that on the night where Ray freaking Rosas wrestles 3 matches,
Yeah.
carries the show essentially.
And wrestled one match with a guy who had trained, 2 guys that had trained for 1 week and were there for a documentary, and he got him through that match.
So
So super credit to Ray and Mondo Vega for that one.
They carried the Rooster Teeth crew, and then Ray went on to have a singles match.
And then he was in the Rumble.
and then he was in the Rumble with us.
I forgot we were in the Rumble.
He won
Was
the-
that
he
the
won
one
the-
where you and I went the distance?
Final 3. It was me, you, and Ray.
So I forgot you and I started at 1 and 2.
So we thought that we were like these cool guys. Like, man, we had this killer match, and we like were in the Rumble and blah blah blah. Ray has a full title match and wrestles 2 untrained guys, and then goes books and performs in the Rumble till the end.
I remember it was his first day, like where he kind of like there was he wasn't the booker yet, but they were like Agent the Rumble, and he told us all what to do. I remember that.
Because we didn't know.
Oh,
We had
I was
no idea.
I was
It wouldn't
just
be a
starving for
millennial-
direction.
It
like
wouldn't be a
that.
Millennial Pro Wrestling podcast unless we put over Ray Rosas for 10
I
minutes.
know. You're like, cool, we get it. You like
You
it.
like Ray Rosas.
When he comes on as a guest, it's gonna be all the reasons we hate him. So
That's not gonna
last. We can't even say it with any seriousness. Anyway, so okay, what's other? So after that, my timeline's a little. I don't remember.
That's not the story of the Millennials. That's the story of us
This is a long story of
coming
our
together.
friendship.
Yeah, but like, there's too much like in between stuff
Well,
to get to where we
no,
were.
that's a big noteworthy. But we'll skip a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
So
Brennan.
I'm gonna skip some stuff.
All right.
So the Millennials, right? We're at MPW. We have this cool match. Danny and I are a tag team, but Danny's the Mr. I'm the man, and I'm not. So he's like, they're like, we can't have you guys be a tag team because we need Danny to be the world champion. Okay.
It's true. I was the world champion.
We need her to be world champion.
Eventually, Ray comes in, and Ray starts.
World champion.
Ray is too good to not put the championship on, and he's going to bring notoriety to the
Oh
school.
yeah, he brought a lot of attention.
And so at the time we're like, oh, we're giving it to this outside guy. Paul's like, are you an idiot? Like, putting this belt on Ray is just going to make people come to the show and make more students come. And both things happened.
You know what was the funniest part of being upset about any of that is, oh man, they're putting the title on Ray so he could drop it back to Danny.
So
Stupid,
dumb.
stupid children.
Did he drop it back to me?
I don't remember.
No, he dropped it to you.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. You're
So
right.
Ray-
yeah, he just
My
took
bad.
it from one
Ray-
golden boy to drop it to the other.
Yeah.
So
He
Ray
dropped it-
got the
whatever,
belt,
what it was.
and that turned you heel.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that was
why.
the
That's
best.
why.
That's-
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
yeah.
happened.
You did the classic Dark Knight.
Yeah.
You
The-
either
the-
die the hero or
the-
you live long enough to see
yourself become the
There you go,
villain,
thank you. So Danny turns heel, and then Ray is just keeping our show afloat.
Well, then he started. I think he became the booker or assistant to the booker at that point. He was assisting.
He was helping
the planning.
with booking.
but
with
he was
Triple X.
agenting every match at that point.
He understood now. Oh, I know what this show is and what it needs.
Yeah.
And then he brings in the hate guys, and like you naturally started to, because you started as a heel at MPW, and you really naturally just the fans just went like, "We love Daniel Moon." You guys really totally just switched spots.
It happened pretty organically when he turned
You
heel.
had the John Cena treatment, big time.
Yes.
Absolutely, I did. I'll never forget it. You're gonna know exactly what I'm talking. Well, you both will. but you're gonna remember it. There were these two freaking guys in the. Thank goodness they're gone.
Think to reference the last episode, two teenage Daniel Moons who think they're giving good heat, but just really heckling.
That just like
definitely.
They would say stuff like at the shows where you're like, okay, like, oh, you're doing AJ Styles move. Obviously,
What AJ Styles move did you do?
Springboard forearm, not as good, but did it.
That is an AJ Styles move.
But like these guys were merciless to me. They hated me. And
because you were the guy. They didn't want the guy. They didn't want their guy.
I felt that shift big time. Like, oh, everyone's over me beating everyone. Because I think I looked at the list. And I was like, oh my gosh, I win a lot. But and that shifted to you being the good guy. Mm-hmm. So let's go into. I know maybe you're on were you in the middle of a point?
No, I just was saying you guys kind of switched.
So I want to get to. Let's talk about the best pals.
Yeah, well, I think
that does get to it. So you started getting over as a babyface.
The thing that was the purpose of the Best Pals angle was to turn me babyface originally.
So the Best Pals, really quick, was Daniel Moon and I's tag team before we
Millennials.
It's the precursor to the
course.
Millennials.
Oh yeah,
it's a huge deal.
I was this babyface suit as plain as you can get. I was just a young man, babyface. But I was I was very genuine. So I think that people gravitated towards me because I was like, I love it and I love you. So I was a babyface and I was going with it. I was a little bit more serious now because they needed a babyface to push, and Danny was a bad guy. Mm-hmm. But then eventually, you guys were feuding again because you were kind of becoming a babyface.
He started a faction. And that's kind of the catalyst that drove me to you.
The Divinity faction in MPW is what led to, I can't take on Danny and his divinity by myself. Neither can Daniel Moon. He wants to be my friend. I don't trust you.
Yeah, right.
And so it was just it was kind of like they've done this a million
times
in every single wrestling
to me,
thing.
It felt a lot of Rock and Sock, where I was more Mankind doing the goofy stuff to try to win you over. And
I remember
your guys' segments, though, were some of the best stuff. I wish that we had the crowd that we do now in Chatsworth to see what you guys did with that, because you guys forced that through yourselves.
Yeah, they weren't into it at first.
Because at first, they the bookers were what? And
they were against it.
And they were like, why are we going to put you two really good guys as a team? That limits the show. Because the three of us were separated a lot because we all needed to be doing different things. And, but man, some of the best stuff on MPW.
Is, so it kind of led to, we were doing the Best Pals thing. And it was just, I didn't want to be his friend. He wanted to be my friend, but we had this good chemistry and we started having tag matches, and he went full goofball on it the whole time. And Aurora Star, we did so many backstage bits, and one of our favorite ones that we did was Daniel Moon came out and he goes, I have a tag match with Brendan Devine, my buddy, and I came out wearing his shirt and his tights because we filmed a segment where Aurora Star took my gear.
Yes.
So I had to dress like Daniel Moon.
Amazing.
And he was just wearing me down. And I remember I don't remember what I was watching just a TV show, and then REO Speedwagon's I Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore came on.
So I know exactly where it came from because
you?
I sent it to you guys.
Is that what
because the Shield broke up on WWE.
That's what it was.
The Shield broke up at the
That's
time.
what it was.
And there was a video of all of them doing some WWE style backstage where they all did their fist in, but somebody had dubbed over the what's the song?
I can't fight this feeling.
I can't fight this feeling. They dubbed that over of them and I watched it and I thought, oh my gosh, you guys, this is it. When you guys finally come together, we play this song.
So we wrestled Hate, Pinky and Che. We lost, and we just this moment was just the most organic thing I think we had ever done.
It was I would put it as top three MPW moments I've seen.
And he's sitting there just waiting for a hug.
The promo was something along the lines of tonight was supposed to be our crowning night because Tate was tag team champion. This is a title shot, and I let you down. This is supposed to be a night of celebration, but I think we won a friendship or something
like that. And we played the song. And I came in, we like, I can't fight this, and we do the hug, and everyone,
you guys timed it with the music. It was so good,
and I just remember it was that went so perfectly. And then the back, they're like, I didn't even know we were doing that today, and we're like, yeah, because we just started kind of doing it without you because we had to get it rolling. But that led to us. We were the best pals. We were just going on and having just like the most fun segments of the show. We were just going out and like goofing off and having funny matches. We had a crazy fun match with like Figgy and the Sweet Fish, which was Auntie Heidi and now Dr. Feelgood.
Yep.
But then it was like, I don't even remember what his name was.
Warren O'Sullivan or something.
Some backwoods, whatever.
Yeah.
But we were having all these like super fun matches. And but that's when I started to really figure it out. I was really starting to get to like come into my own as a character at that point. And the mid-card championship was like what my focus was at the time. And you were the mid-card champions. I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to go wrestle Danny.
I was both champions.
I'm going to wrestle Danny and get this mid-card championship. I have my best pal to have my back in case of whatever. And that led to a year later from our anniversary match was the California Classic event at NPW.
1 year after your debut.
Yeah, and so you and I wrestled for the mid-card title. And you,
oh my gosh, we did.
And you won.
Obviously.
You won straight up. And you wrestled Ray in the main event for the world title.
That was a super fun night because to me that was my like
your ultimate
I think I'm a pro wrestler now because I double booked myself.
You did Mav that day?
I did Maverick that day.
Dude.
Wrestled Brian Cage and Andrew Everett and obviously
cool superstar.
Won, yeah. And then rush over to Moore Park to wrestle in the main event with Ray.
So cool.
Yeah, so I felt super cool about
but that was the night that Paul also told us, like, we're working towards you three in the main event of the anniversary show, which was in June. So the California Classic was in April. And so you had a few months to book.
I remember being so stoked about that California Classic because it was like I wasn't in the main event. Because I was so sick of it, and I remember saying to like God, I was like can give somebody else that spot because like the fans were sick of me, and I remember being so stoked that Moon was getting that spot like as the championship main event match, because like didn't you guys do like a screw job finish or something?
I pinned him with his foot underneath the third, and that was what got
classic.
Yeah.
But I also Moon won the title that night, and I won the Rumble, which allowed me to be the main event of the anniversary show.
Right.
And I remember the next night, like, you came out with the World Championship, and I was the Rumble winner, and everyone was like, oh, no, like, the best pals are going to have to fight. And I was like, no, because I'm an idiot, and I don't care about how wrestling works. I want the mid-card championship.
The motivation because he betrayed you.
It's true. I wanted to get my hands on Danny more than anything else.
He turned on you. He turned heel on you.
Well, it was your character was an unfinished accomplishment that you wanted. You had set your heart on becoming the national champion.
Right.
You know? Yeah. But yeah, in retrospect, why the heck would you not challenge for the world title?
But so eventually, a bunch of hee-haw. You lose it to Ray. You get stripped of the title, I think. Was that what it was?
No, we did the gauntlet.
We did. It was vacant, so I got stripped of it.
Oh, so you did get stripped.
Yeah.
Legally.
Did the gauntlet. You end up with both titles.
Obviously.
He was in the Booker's ear. For sure.
That's a shoot.
Yeah. And that led to, it was a double fall main event for the anniversary show at MPW.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Daniel Moon and Brendan Devine.
It was the Jericho Benoit angle gimmick from WrestleMania.
And that was another great moment because then you and I won our titles and Danny was a loser and we
had our Eddie Benoit moment.
We had our Eddie Benoit moment.
That was one of my favorite nights in all of wrestling because I had a dream and my dream was realized. And it was I wanted a faction where we started
the evolution,
a big show with all the belts and we lost them all in the same night. And that is exactly what happened.
Oh, man. I wonder who Danny wanted to be when he was a kid.
Triple H.
Triple H.
That's the answer. But yeah, laying there when you both held up the titles, I was like, we did it.
And we talked about this on our favorite matches episode. This led to, eventually, you moved away.
Yeah.
You moved to Orange County.
That's very...
So remember how Aurora Star hates wrestling?
She also hates friendship.
No. So she's very dedicated to pursuing a degree in physical therapy, and she got accepted to a school over in the Orange County.
It's Chapman University?
Chapman University. So
I know college.
She knows what's up. So that means it was time to move. I had to leave Northridge and go to the OC.
We made it like it's such a big deal. Like, we're never going to see Danny Moon again. He lives in Orange County.
That's
well, to be fair, when you see somebody every day,
it was a big change from I'm training. I'm at the building 3 to 4 times a week,
Yeah.
and then it
I
got
guess
scaled
in the
back
scale of
to
that.
once a week. Which I mean, it's not the end of the world. But I mean, when's the last time we ran a spot? I mean, but now because of COVID, for sure. But even then,
before
but
that,
even
yeah,
then,
you're
like
right.
whenever you showed up, it was like we were glued to each other
I
as
have,
far as
have
drills.
these ideas. Oh, this would be a cool drill to run. This would be a good tag.
Yeah,
spot.
and that's why it was different because it's like we had lined up our days off from our shoot jobs
Mm-hmm.
so that we could train at night and then have a day during the day and train together. So there was a day where we would get there at 10 o'clock, train all day, go eat lunch, and then come back and have class.
Yep.
So like it was a big change when you moved.
But we talked about the match where the you and me for the final where I was for the mid card title and or your career, and I was telling Danny, I was like, that match for some reason we just clicked so well and we were nailing all of our spots for a crowd that didn't care.
How
What do you how do you remember that
I
match
remember it
going?
a little bit differently because that night I had to wrestle Peyton too.
Oh yeah.
So I think me and Peyton blew them up. We were not the right match to follow him up.
And the crowd was there to watch her debut. So immediately, once you see what you want to see, naturally, without even knowing, you're checked out.
Yeah. So I don't have as bitter memories about it as you.
I don't have bitter memories because I remember the match being so fun and so
I just
good.
recently watched it back. It is very good.
We nailed it.
Yeah. Hey, one of my speaking of my favorite matches, that's super proud. I carry my girlfriend. Oh, that's so mean. I carry my girlfriend.
She was a half-trained wrestler.
Well, I want to jump on that really quick because I remember you and I having conversations because she was getting hit up to get booked because everyone watched her great performance. And you're like, that was my great performance. She didn't know what she was doing.
I think it's she gets away with it too because she's so athletic.
Oh no,
and
she's
got a
She
killer look.
she worked hard for that match.
She knows,
and trained hard.
She knows what her deal is. And like she's not gonna take any hard feelings. She knows what happened.
But and
she would. She has a good look and she's very athletic. Like she could probably do something if she wanted to.
It's funny when I watch wrestling with her. Like if we have a few drinks, her favorite thing is to like reenact the entrances. And so as they're doing the entrances and the bell rings, she always goes and looks at me. What's my spot?
What's my spot?
And that's kind of a little bit of an inside joke because that's how it started.
Sure.
She's so hyped up. All her friends and coworkers and family are there to watch her wrestle. She has this like cool hyped intro to
Get in there
and to get in there. And we lock up. She goes, "What do we do?"
Probably
You're
head,
like, I got you, baby.
probably head scissors. But exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway,
All the things that make you look big and strong because she's so tiny and light.
so
Because I'm a man. I'm strong.
speaking of, because I want to, and we're ending up just telling a chronological MPW story, which is great. But I also want to dive into some other funny matches and moments over that time before you moved. Because speaking of crowds that don't care, you and I had a match at one point
Oh my god.
at a birthday party. And
Birthday parties can be really, really fun or dreadful.
no,
if you're
I
watching
hate them.
this.
Straight up, I hate
no,
them.
sometimes they're fun.
Sometimes they're a lot of fun. There was one where
they're not.
this is so I don't want to say this because it's kind of unprofessional, but there was a lot of drinking at this party, and I thought it'd just be funny to start as a heel just to start taking drinks from the crowd, and I got a little buzzed. And
Who'd you work?
Whoa, man. You got drunk before you wrestled?
I think I'm the only wrestler ever to wrestle intoxicated, guys. You heard it here first.
Wow.
I have to tell a really funny story really fast. There was one time, this was on like Twitter, I think. A dude like was calling out, I can't remember, was it Super Beetle or it was calling someone out? It was like, this guy was drunk in the ring. I know he was. He's definitely drunk. And we're all like, no, he wasn't. Like, what are you talking about? Like, we're like, kind of like,
Oh yeah,
I don't remember any
yeah.
names
No,
or like.
he said it was me, and I wasn't even in the match.
You were drunk in the.
and remember that, and then you chimed in, and then Chuck chimed in. He's like, "Oh, we were in the match."
But my favorite thing ever was at the end. He tagged Ray and was like, "Ray, did you know that these kids are drinking before their matches?" I was like, "Oh yeah, like because Ray's gonna be like." How could you?
His whole gimmick at bar was
Like what? Like
So anyway, so who did you end up wrestling at that party?
I don't remember. It must have been like some tag match.
Sure.
Anyways, that was super fun. Like
Right.
the fact I don't remember anything about it. I think
Yeah.
it speaks to it. But I remember most of the match you're talking about.
So okay,
A very indifferent crowd
there was like 5 people there,
and one wrestling fan.
and one wrestling fan, and that wrestling fan was like kind of sort of making noise, and so we're
You're like,
wrestling,
"Woo."
we're wrestling this match, and we were like working.
because you're young and you're dumb.
Well, no, it was more
Stupid.
because we don't get a chance to wrestle very often, so we figured let's do some stuff.
Yeah, if anyone's gonna pay money to have a private performance, and they like wrestling, let's give them wrestling.
Man, that's my attitude then was that. It's so different now. I would phone it in so hard at a birthday party. But anyway, so we started having this match, and the crowd is like, they weren't just being quiet, they were being like rude to the point like where it was like they like clearly like it was like fans that had been there that like I think that they had come a lot, so they thought that we were like pals, so they could like and so it was like it was like, why am I I don't know if they were enjoying it.
Did they make you want to hit somebody?
They did. So I was really angry. And I didn't realize how angry. And I did this spot where I put Moon in the corner, and I just started throwing like double forearms, and I was just
They're just real.
destroying him.
There were just elbows to the jaw the whole time.
Brutal.
And I snapped Mary and I put him in a chin lock, and he just goes, "Please don't hit me anymore."
And you're still too nice. To
Oh yeah, and he guess how many times did anyone hit me back? Guess.
0 times.
0 times.
Did you chop you at least?
Nope. And I even said, "Get me," and he wouldn't do it. And I was like, I hate my life. So
no. Here's the thing: if someone's legitimately upset in there, like I don't want to aggravate you. If we're,
I felt horrible.
But if we were having a good time and you were laying it in, oh yeah, it's on.
sure, what we've done, because we've done that
Yeah.
before. But I was literally just being frustrated and
Yeah.
not looking where I was throwing my elbow. Anyway, so yeah, beat you up pretty good on that one.
Where were we? Okay, so I was going away. We had this good farewell match.
And yeah, so then you were gone, and then like a few weeks later, MPW was over. I don't know, like it was like a year
we
later.
had
It was like a year
we had
later.
year.
God,
It
you were
feels-
gone forever.
I was gone for like 3 months, and the reason for this was because I had to transfer locations at my work, and I had a pretty sweet schedule set up at
Yeah.
my place in Northridge.
Oh, you didn't have Fridays off.
Yeah, I had. I didn't have. I think at Northridge I had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off,
What?
and all day shifts. So I got like the best schedule I could ask for as a restaurant waiter. So like that's
to
unheard
be a
of.
wrestler too.
Yeah. So now I'm moving into another location. I'm the new guy over there. You know, of course,
You
I
get
went
the
to-
worst shifts.
Yeah. So I'm never gonna have a weekend off. I'm never gonna have a Friday off. And in case I do manage to swing a day shift, the drive over there is gonna take forever. I'm never gonna make the shows.
Yeah, so, but that led to, I'm sorry, you're right, that MPW was closed. I eventually won the Cup Series or whatever. Millennium does it.
So basically, like Moon had left, and we were kind of just like the
That's
shows.
when the show started to dip
Yeah,
big time.
the shows. The attendance was down. I don't even know what.
So
the-
they lost
I
to
was.
draw.
We were. And neither of us had like a direction. I really had no direction.
well,
It was,
I was the mid-card champ, and I was just wrestling random people.
yeah, and I was just like, it would literally. I would get there, and the booker would be like, "Who do you want to wrestle?"
This was
and I would
before-
just pick a student.
This is critical because this is before Ray took over the book at MPW, and I think a big the creative force behind the show was us hanging out after class and figuring out what are we gonna do now.
Yeah.
And the story that we wanted to tell was told, and I think a lot of it was a natural end to a lot of stories.
Yeah.
So without the catalyst of, these creative meetings, we essentially had it in and out.
Yeah.
There wasn't much you could do especially with each other because you guys just came out of a program.
Literally. So,
And what do you guys do?
So that led to you. We were in the. Then we did the Millennium Cup series, which is like we talked about it a couple episodes
That's
ago.
the
It was our
tournament
little
thing.
round robin tournament. You and I did the final one year. Remember, sick as dogs. Yeah. I talked about that in one of our episodes.
I had to wrestle twice in mine, so back to back.
Okay, you're good.
So I was.
So we decide you're gonna win the series, and you become you win the world title, and we had decided then let's turn Brendan heel. Right. And I had pitched to Ray and to the other, whoever was the creative at the time. And I was like, Brendan and I have never been a team. Can we please be a team?
And that led to like the catalyst of it being like, I turned because of you.
Yeah. Like
And
it
so we
looked
can be a
like
team.
I was messing with you, but no, you turned and allied yourself with me again. I was on your team and we became this team. And then the fans naturally, that was the same night you were there. I think you came to the show to watch him win the title or something.
Oh yeah, I think I just watched.
You were just there.
Yeah.
And we did this backstage thing that you had been re-signed to MPW or something.
Oh yeah, because I got fired. I got fired for
Yeah.
losing
I got
to
you fired.
Yeah.
So then you came back and you had re-signed. And then that stipulation, speculation of, wait a second, Moon hates Danny. Danny and Moon are mortal enemies, and
I was
Moon
this
is
bridge.
his best pal. Like Brendan's and Moon are pals. Like what's gonna happen? So we did this, and then so we had a show where you kind of showed up and you came back to MPW and wrestled, and Brendan and I were bad guys, and we did this whole thing where we're beating up some of the baby faces, and you came out to make the save for the baby faces.
In my own little like headcanon, this is particularly fun because now that I was over in Orange County, I was taking more outside bookings because just distance. But I was a babyface still, so this was a big heel turn for me because now I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna try to now start taking heel bookings.
Right.
Right, but then you attacked the baby faces, and the three of us were a team. And we were Millennial Pro Wrestling as a joke.
So and the joke came from, without getting into too much detail, is we are all trained out of and work frequently at Millennium Pro Wrestling.
Can confirm.
And we had some people that were not fond of us. I wouldn't say they were fans.
They hated us.
They hated us, actually. That's true. They called us Millennial Pro Wrestling.
It was
As like a dig because millennials
are
okay.
stupid.
To just give a little bit more context, this is just someone who is a little bitter that they didn't get booked at the show. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
So they were calling they as a means to make fun of us, they called us Millennial Pro Wrestling. So we thought, let's call ourselves Millennial Pro Wrestling because that's funny and we're gonna be heels anyway. Let's be these people these dudes think we are.
Guys, can I interject here? All right.
No. And then yes, of course. It's your show.
I am Brendan Devine. We
That's
established
true.
that.
He is Brendan Devine.
So you should shut up, guest.
I should switch chairs.
when you guys were coming up with the name and landed on Millennial Pro Wrestling, I hated the name.
I bet you did.
It was terrible.
But I decided, like, the way wrestling is, you choose which hill to die on. And I thought, I get to team with my best friends and, my home promotion. So I'm not going to be nitpicky about the name, especially because I don't think they're going to keep us together that long.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Little did you know.
Question: what did you want our name to be?
I didn't have a pitch. Did I?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Daniel
I'm asking
Moon
you genuinely
and the
right now.
Moon Men.
The Moon Man.
I think our team name should have been Daniel Moon and some other guys.
Oh, that would have been really good. That
Wow.
would have been
very,
cool.
very marketable.
Yeah, we'll look good on a t-shirt.
Anyway, Justin Borden messaged us, said, you guys suck. It should be the Millennials. And we're like, oh, he's right.
Yeah,
he's right.
Thanks,
And then,
Justin.
And then the name itself and just the name, people messaged us and were more interested in us at that
Instantly
point.
more attention.
Immediately, all of a sudden, people were like, because at MPW, we got hyped because the three of us were together. And everyone was like, that's impossible. How could they be together?
Storyline, body of work wise, it was something exciting.
Exactly. But outside booking started to come because
tag teams are scarce.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, these three really capable guys are that's good, and trios are hard to find.
And also
Big
getting
time.
at that time they were getting hot.
Yeah, trios wrestling was big, and it was when you want to have a 6-man tag, and you need it's a lot cooler if you have a 3 unit. It's not just a tag team and insert person here. It's oh wow, there's actually a team of 3. So we all of a sudden, and then we kind of became the team of 3 that would just wrestle. We'd get beat up by people, but that was great because we were getting booked. Because at Ground Zero. It was, and I talked about Ground Zero in the last episode. We started. They had a team of 3, like B-Boy students were 8-Bit Lit. Yeah. They were, those guys are a team of 3, and we were friends with those guys, and they we had feuded when they were AK Rambe, and then they brought in the third guy, and then it was like, oh, well, we have a third guy, and then that never-ending saga kind of happened, and then all.
Am I Hogan? I think I'm the third man.
You are the third man. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Oh, I want to be. Dang, you're probably Kevin Nash.
I'm definitely Kevin Nash.
Scott Hall's the best one.
No.
Who had the best ladder match out of all those 3 guys?
Shawn Michaels.
That's another topic we'll go into eventually, but how dare people?
No, yes. Razor did have an incredible ladder match.
Shawn had a match with a ladder.
No, he didn't.
Razor's
awesome
in that match. So good.
He gets a bad rap because of the crippling alcoholism and drug abuse. But
he's fine now.
No.
Is he fine now?
No, it sounds like no.
Oh no, Scott.
Anyway, so we started getting booked all these places, and we did we started
Because of Ray.
Yeah, but we did that.
We did
what
Alpha Omega.
That one, AOW. So
we did Best of the West. We did UWF. We did Ground Zero as the Millennials. We're just going around. We were hitting all the local.
Yeah, that's what got us on TV.
Championship Wrestling from Hollywood.
So that
was the first. Yeah, that's the only reason they ever asked about us.
We did Arizona first too.
We did Arizona.
So us being this team, all of a sudden now we started to be able to do more stuff. We weren't just the MPW guys. It was like, oh, we're now the Millennials.
Yeah, it made us more marketable for sure. And a funny thing I always kind of observed is when we first started as a team, the Millennials, millennial was still like a dirty word. Like it's you, even though it's like your generation, you didn't want to be associated with that name. Yeah. I think just politically, climately, that's changed a little bit.
Sure,
big time.
And that's why I'm like, are we gonna have to come back as baby faces?
Maybe.
It is definitely.
Brendan's wife is like, yes, I can cheer for you at shows.
She does not like when I'm a heel. But the way that the Millennials thing kind of worked was it was a lot of the fans for a lot of promotions were like older people more so.
Yeah.
So when we came out as the Millennials, they were like, yeah, we hate you.
That's true because a lot of the younger folks dug us because we did cool stuff and I think why the Millennial gimmick worked as a heel too and why it does work is we had gotten that selfish want to do your cool move stuff out of the way already out of our system when we were younger wrestlers as far as because I think that happens when younger wrestler when you first start out
in your mental development I'd say
you just when it was I remember you and I had a match when we were because then we became a tag team before Brendan and I became a tag team. Why are we never a team anywhere except for
because I tell them not to.
Oh my god! But you remember we had we had this match with
terrible
Caleb Perez and the Great Zumba.
Yes.
And we said we want to do no offense, and we just everything we tried to set up, they turned around and beat us up. Do you remember that?
And we won that match.
Yeah, we won.
Tag team.
we did nothing.
Yeah, it's a very old school way of looking. It was back to kind of marrying the old school with the new school. You start off and you, at least for me, my perspective, I want to do all the X Division moves.
Exactly. And we were watching all the Rock and Roll Express, and all of a sudden we were like, okay, we can be bad guys and do all this fun stuff.
Oh, dang. Look at the Brainbusters. Yeah. They're pretty dope.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything.
Yeah. The finishes that we were finding to do
Slick.
My favorite one we did was
the sunset.
The sunset is you climbed up and I blind tag and you sunset and the guy was like, what? And I knocked him down into your I just slapped on my punch on the podcast. But, on our but little stuff like that, we were figuring out how to work in that parameter, and then we were getting those matches. I'll never forget Ground Zero, we wrestled True Grit and Hunter Freeman.
Uh-huh.
We got brought in because those 3 dudes needed 3 dudes to beat up.
Yep.
I think with the 3 of them, and the reason why that match started to work out is because they were these tough, badass redneck dudes, 2 cowboys and the big, tough redneck who was like the main babyface at the time. And we were the total opposites of that.
We're soft
Literally
millennials.
polar opposites.
And I think with the millennial thing, is it has shifted from before we were like, we're the millennials and that's our thing, is our name, so we don't have to be a character. And that changed when we went to television. We did Championship Wrestling from Arizona, and Pete's the producer. Peter Avalon's the producer of that show. And I remember the match, we had it with the Tribe, Hawaiian Lion and Navajo Warrior. And those dudes are like hardcore, like big time power lifters, been in the business forever, and they're really good, really smart TV wrestlers.
Oh, really good guys to get paired with.
And we didn't perform expertly. It was our first time on TV. We had to do a 2 segment, and they said it wasn't so bad, but I remember being very unhappy with the match.
I'm also not pleased with it.
I'm not pleased with my first television performance either.
So we did, and then I was really into TV wrestling at that point.
It's like a whole new flavor.
Wrestling from Hollywood and stuff. And I remember we went and did a match at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and the fans booed us immediately because we're the millennials. Boo! I hate you. Boo! I hate millennials. They're lazy. They do this, this, and this. I'm like, I don't know. Like it started to kind of get to me of like, that's not true though. I gotta find something that makes more sense. And Peter and Ray were both like, it's not really anything right now. Like you guys are just the millennials and you're getting off on just, that's your name. Like, you're not doing anything. And then I was like, what do millennials do? And then I turned the corner at Championship Wrestling Hollywood, and everyone who's on there is pretty young now. And what are they all doing? They're all sitting on their phones. So I was like, is that funny? Like, should I do that instead? And that's where the phone thing came from. Because if you're unfamiliar with our work or my work specifically, I walk out and I'm on my phone most of the time. And like that struck a chord with people and like with non-wrestling fans too. Like my friends were like, I saw your like phone thing. Like, that's funny. And I'm kind of like, that was the first time I like felt a connection to the characters of being the millennials. I don't know about you guys or like where you found it or anything like that, but like that really like is what connected the gimmick to my performances.
To me, I think I really found what the character, at least in the Millennials, was during the time MPW closed. Like, because I always think of the Millennials have 2 eras. They have the cool leather jacket era, and then they have the T-shirt more refined era.
Yeah.
And I think I really found who Daniel Moon, the Millennial, was actually at Level Up at B-Boys. Because, we weren't running any classes, and whenever Level Up was running, B-Boy watches all the matches, and what a great opportunity to get some awesome feedback. Mm-hmm. And one of the big, like, stereotypical things about millennials, like, oh, they're always complaining, they're always so entitled. So like, I'm gonna be a big crybaby is what I decided to do, and I had so much fun with that. And some of my best like clips or videos that I like from Hollywood is a lot of like frown, complaining, like, I didn't win. Those are my favorite.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I see, and the thing about it is, it's like I don't think I've really adopted the millennial character all that much. Aside from I just kind of be like a more bitter version of myself, and just like I'm just grumpy and everything sucks. Because I think there's a lot of people on. I look at
cynic.
Yeah, I look at a lot of people on social media, and it's just like how often do people talk about how great things are on social media? Everybody talks about how shitty everything is. So I figured I'm gonna be the guy who everything is shitty, and like that was our dichotomy. Is Brendan was on his phone, Moon was complaining, and I was just pissed off all the time. I was always mad at everything, and I was easily triggered. That was it. I was easily triggered and mad. I would throw temper tantrums after matches. Yeah, and that kind of became the thing. And I, and I don't do the millennial gimmick when I have a singles. Usually, you guys kind of stuck to it more because you two kind of became the team. More so when MPW even came back, because I was doing some other stuff, and I just kind of made my own. I went back to finding out who Danny Devine was, and you guys did a lot more traveling than I did together.
We definitely picked up a lot more road bookings just because of like scheduling and just the way that we were.
So just before we get off the rails, and I want to talk about it. Let's talk about when you guys went to Texas. Let's talk about that experience. What was it like? Why did that come about?
So we were mouth kissing for like an hour.
Before you got the booking,
or before, during, after, right before the podcast,
and then when we woke up, we were in Texas. No, the booker of Hurricane Pro messaged me one day.
Okay,
because he came to an MPW show, and he said, "I saw you, Danny, and Daniel, and I saw it. Those are the guys." So like whenever we say like, "Oh, we were the guys at MPW," like people told us that for sure.
Even before that, the Hurricane Pro promoter was interested in you guys because he wants tag teams. He wants teams.
Yeah.
And back to that need and hunger for teams.
Well, he messaged me a year before we actually did anything. Like, if you guys need anything in Texas, and I was like, I'm not going to Texas. Get out of here, man. Like, I can't do anything like that. Not knowing what pro wrestling would lead to and things like that. So then a year later, I messaged him and I was like, hey, like, we're kind of developed now. We're the Millennials. Like, are you still looking for teams for whatever? And he was like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm still like super looking forward to it. Like, can you guys come on down and we'll get you hooked up on this show in December and it's going to be great. And I was like, guys, like, now is the time to, because Steve had told me at this point, like, keep coming to train, everything like that. But more importantly, you guys need to start hitting the road and you guys need to start going to shows and like honing your craft that way. Because training is great, keeps yourself fresh, but you're not going to get any better unless you're out there in front of people doing shows. So that's what you have to be doing. That's your next step in training. And I was like, shoot, then we got to go to Texas. So Moon and I go, all right, well, what's the best way to do this? We figured like, okay, we could fly ourselves out there and everything like that. We could figure out like a driving situation, or we didn't know what to do. All we knew is that we were booked for that day and we had to get to Texas in some fashion.
Sure. You were booked in Texas on that day and you had to get there.
By the grace of God, Moon's mom lives in San Antonio.
That's in Texas.
Confirmed.
So, I remember this was a crazy part of the story. It was like on Christmas, like our dad, Mr. Divine, was like, you're not going to Texas. And I was like, no, I am. He's like, you can't drive to Texas. There's like rainstorms in Phoenix or whatever at the time. And I was like, yeah, well, like, sorry, I don't know. And he was really, really upset that we were going to Texas. And I was like, I don't know how to tell him that like, I'm definitely driving to Texas tomorrow, but whatever. So morning comes because we left like the day after Christmas, I believe, because it was on the 28th was the show, and it's gonna take us a full day to get there.
You slept over at my apartment.
I did,
yeah, and then we left super early.
And
so you left Christmas night?
No, the 26th we left. Yeah, it must have been.
I have my days all mixed up.
I don't remember. It was something to that effect. I stayed over at Daniel's house, and we left the next morning for Texas. Yeah. So we're driving.
And this is like Beaumont, Texas, which is like
the other end.
Essentially Louisiana.
Yeah. So it's like the far part of Texas.
Yeah.
So we're driving. And because we know how far the drive is, before we knew it, we were in Arizona. And we're like, we've been driving for 6 hours. It felt like nothing. Moon and I are great.
Especially because like the drive to Arizona from when we did that taping felt like it was forever.
And we were also in a car full of dudes too. So it was like...
road trips are either amazing or as miserable as the people you're in the car with.
Absolutely. And that's why when it was a little before that you started doing shows outside of MPW, because up to this point I was
you were kind of going around.
I was doing the thing by myself, and it was so lonely.
Yeah, and so we're going through Texas and we're having a good time. You know what I mean? On the road with your boy.
Yeah.
It's a great time. But the thing that really hit us was once you get into Texas, you're like, nice. We're
here.
in Texas. Texas is the biggest state in the universe. So like, you're like, I've been driving for 12 hours and now I'm in Texas. Great. Get ready for another 8 hours of just Texas.
At least there's a lot of beautiful scenery and mountains.
It's all flat.
Yeah. Nope. Texas. No, I don't think so.
Texas is very flat and everyone says y'all. We get to Daniel's mom's house, and Danny, you would say that your mother loves you, correct?
Oh, very much.
she doesn't love you half as much as Daniel Moon's mom loves him.
Is that true? Daniel?
It was like
Oh, yeah.
3 a.m, and she busts out of the door and she's like, mi amor, mi amor, mi amor. She just grabs him and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe you're here. My love. She's like, and you. And
that's not true. She was like, thank you for keeping me safe.
she was so beside herself that you were there.
Yeah.
And so we slept, and the next morning she's like, I'm gonna make you guys tortas, and then we're gonna drive you to the show. And
What?
Then,
Not something we planned on.
San Antonio to Beaumont is 4 hours.
Yeah.
And she's like, we're going to drive you there and drive you back.
Yeah, our plan was we'll sleep
What,
over.
like your mom and your sister.
Because the guy had a room for us
Yeah.
in Beaumont.
The way we planned it out is we'll stop in San Antonio for some sleep, and in the morning we'll head out to Beaumont. My
She
mom
was
was
like,
like,
nah.
none of that. When you wake up, I'm gonna have your favorite meal ready, and then you guys could sleep in the back of the car, and I'll drive.
This is how the day went. We planned on getting to San Antonio.
When did she get you a new phone?
Hold on. We'll
That's
get
the
to
best
it.
part. So we have sandwiches, like delicious sandwiches. And she's like, okay, great. Now we're gonna go get a steak lunch, and we go get.
There's throughout this. I think you're gonna talk about it during the trip, but Brendan, as we all know, famous bully,
I am a bully.
and me, not so hot with technology.
That is
Old man.
That's an understatement. You had an iPhone 4 when iPhone 10 had come out.
And it was frustrating because you're a wrestler, you have group chats with your wrestling friends. Moon was in all of our group chats, but didn't respond because his app didn't work. He's like, I don't have the password to my Apple something or other. So I always give him a hard time. So we're at this steak lunch
It's like you're a
with
millennial.
his mom, and I'm giving him a hard time about his phone. I'm like, yeah, your phone sucks. She's like, does your phone suck, mijo? I said that as the whitest person ever.
Miho.
Mijo.
Me, Joe.
And he's like, yeah, but it's whatever. It's fine.
It texts, it calls.
This is
That's what I
another
need.
thing. So we're I'm making fun of this. Meanwhile, we're at this steak lunch, right? And Moon's sister shows up, with her boyfriend and a friend, and his mom's like, there's no more room at our table. Go sit over there.
Is this the sister that we had IHOP with?
Yes.
Okay.
And I remember I was like, that's so crazy. She's like, I want to sit with Daniel. He's here. I have to sit with him and his friend. And so then after we have this steak lunch without your sister and her friends,
Not wanted.
she's like, let's go to the mall. Let's buy you a new phone.
What?
And we go, and I feel like he's embarrassed.
Hugely embarrassed.
But I'm like, this is awesome.
Mom,
And
you're
we go to,
embarrassing me.
the
You love me too
Verizon-
much.
The Verizon store in Beaumont, Texas, and we get him the newest iPhone. She's like, it's like a Christmas birthday present. And he's like, thanks, Mom.
All I know is we got a message, like the three of us have a group chat. And Brennan texted me.
No. I think he texted this to the main chat with all the boys. He's
So
like,
he texted it
It
into
was
it.
a
So,
message.
okay, so it was a
Like,
group
guess
chat
where we are.
with a bunch of guys in it, and it was like, guys, you're never gonna believe what's happening. Moon is getting a new phone, and everyone had known that you suck.
His thing sucked, yeah.
But it was like, what? How?
it was a big deal.
So that was a wild day. So then they drop us off at the venue, which is at the Ford Center in Beaumont, which is like a stadium almost. It's like a mini stadium.
Yeah.
And that was super cool. And so we go in, and everyone's all there already, and we go and we're like, hey, we're the Millennials. This is the first time we'd gone out of state. Right?
Arizona.
I guess Arizona. But Arizona was weird because it was all people who were booked in SoCal.
Yeah.
Beaumont, Texas.
We didn't know anybody.
That's not true.
That's not true.
But we'll get to that. So we're there, and we're meeting everybody, and the booker is so excited to see us. He's like, oh my God, you guys are finally here. He thought that we were going to fly in.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, who do I need to come pick you guys up? And I was like, we are driving. He's like,
What?
why? We're just doing it. It's fine. So we're going to wrestle the Pump Patrol, which is their tag champs.
Yeah.
They're one of the main acts of the whole show.
I had talked to a couple of them on Twitter before, I think.
Super cool
They
guys.
had come
Those
and done
dudes,
some LA shows.
Super duper fun. And they totally were into their gimmick, and we were into ours. And But like it was also nice. It's like, all right, this is like their show. Like
Oh,
they're definitely
yeah.
like the big honchos here. So we can get away with going over. Like, you know what I mean? Like we can go over time if we need to, or like we're not gonna get like chewed out.
Sure.
If we have some leniency we're going with.
It's like when guys would come wrestle us at MPW.
Yeah, kind of like that.
I actually had a whole different perspective, you jerk.
Really? Oh, I was like-
we're guests in their house, and
They were so cool.
This
that
is why Danielman is the balance of the team.
They made us feel like we totally belonged.
Oh,
we're like
yeah.
we're going around shaking everybody's hand. Everyone in Beaumont, Texas, that was on Hurricane Pro that night, nicest people in the universe.
super nice.
And who do we see? Heather Monroe is there. She's the champion,
Yeah.
the women's champion at Hurricane Pro. And we're like, Heather, what are you doing here? She's like, I'm the champion. I'm here every month for these shows.
What are you nerds doing?
And she's like, what are you guys doing here? We're like, oh, she's like, oh yeah, I like slept in and flew in this morning, and I'm here now. We're like, oh, we drove 2 days ago, and now we're here. She's like, well, we need the champion. But then she like had the best match of the night too. So
Oh, Heather's very
yeah.
good.
she earns her flight in.
Oh yeah.
But so we have the match with the Pump Patrol. Super fun, super easy. At one point, like I remember, like we were goofing off doing our like that was the most like millennial-y we had done in that match. I just remember it being so fun and like
It started to really turn the page for how we behaved as a team and character.
and
Oh my god! One I think that really helped is that people out there are pretty familiar that there's different tastes in different regions, like back in the territory days.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
and
definitely.
SoCal is a very indie spot heavy territory.
not Beaumont, Texas.
My God, was it so much fun working in front of like conservative old school wrestling Texas?
Probably do nothing.
Not really.
I mean, the booker was nice too, and he was like, "Get your character thing, like go talk to people." And we talked to the audience forever. Our entrance, we didn't even do it. We just literally messed with the audience the whole time.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. They come out and they do push-ups. They're like, "We're the Bump Patrol," and we're like,
Very
relax.
gimmick,
Like,
character heavy.
We kind of like a part of what we did then, and we've done it ever since. Is part of our shtick is we make fun of the other people's thing. Like, oh, you guys like relax. Like it's just whatever. Like cool
Yes.
off.
Yeah, that's been one of our staples.
That was when we really started doing it. I felt like.
Interesting. I did only copy it from you guys. So people would be like, "Oh, are we making fun of the other team?"
So we,
Okay, well, I'm making fun of them.
But so we have this match, super duper fun, super duper cool. We didn't win, losers.
That's what we do.
And we go in the back, and the booker was so happy with it, and that makes you feel like
That's-
$1 million
yeah,
bucks
like-
every single time. He's like, "I loved
That's
it.
who hired you to do the job.
Let's get you guys back. Really try to get Danny back if we can." We go, "You picked the 28th of December. Getting us was lucky."
And I don't like going places, so
Yeah.
If it's not within 5 mile radius, good luck.
Yeah. So,
I go to San Diego,
Yeah,
Oh,
there you
that's
go.
true.
and I went to 29 Palms one time.
We went there
Fair.
after you too.
I
didn't go
went
this next
once.
I laid a lot of groundwork over there.
But one of the things that the Moon doesn't like that I do, he does and he doesn't.
Oh, okay,
I think I know what you're going to talk
I've
about.
grown
and
to
and-
like it.
and I also hate it.
I've hated it for a while, but I grew to like it. I grew to like it.
I think I probably still.
So wrestling for me is I just want to have fun the whole time. And I know that things are serious and sometimes it's really intense, but like I don't. So
I know someone could break their neck, but like
sometimes I'm really difficult to call matches with because I am just
yeah, like 99
joking around.
99%
goofball.
I'm just joking around the whole time, or I'll refer to things as like, and then I'll do the you know what I mean?
what's that mean? What are we
That's-
doing?
that's
This is
the-
important.
that's
Are
the
you gonna
spot.
punch or kick me? That's important.
I don't know yet.
No.
What do I sell on
But
that move?
my favorite, and this is like real insider stuff. My favorite joke to tell, and like it's risky to tell it sometimes. Is whenever we're calling matches with people, like right before we go out, we'll be like messing around and be like, okay, and then hit the big move, 1, 2, 3, and then I'll go like, 1, 2, 3 right there, and they're like, yeah, and I go, huh? Then how do we win? And sometimes people just go like, meh, I don't get it.
I
But
think everyone-
sometimes I've really broken the ice with people on that. And with the Pump Patrol, it was literally right before we went out. I was like, wait, well, then how do we win? And then Jared Wayne looks at me. He goes, ha, like, I get it. Like, that's funny. And I was like, and he was like, why? Why right now?
I wasn't happy with that one because we were literally just about to go out,
Dude,
and
I had to get it in. I had to get my joke in.
I don't think we even called it that many times.
Do you remember the 8-man that we did in San Diego?
Yeah.
So we're calling a match with 8 people in it, and Brendan is just being blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
I was extra that.
And, and I mean,
I don't know why.
I
know
I
why.
do, but we won't get into it. But I just remember and I'm very intense when I call a match.
I am
Yeah.
so not.
Okay, and we talked about it with the Carney's match, was why I was thankful you weren't there, because Carrie Awful and I were calling this match. And Moon is, Moon likes, hey, let me interject, because he's so polite. But I was like, call. And then when you showed up, I was like, it's done, Brendan. It's fine. You don't have to worry.
I was like, okay, here's my spot.
But I remember that 8-man, and I was like, Brendan, you have to stop.
Well, hold on. The reason I do it now, and Moon can attest to this story. The reason I do it and I stick to it now is because one time it did get us out of a jam. So we were at EWF. We were doing the main event of this,
It was like a veterans hall.
affair show. Or whatever.
It's a veteran
and we
benefits.
were wrestling SoCal Crazy and Brandon Gatson. So 2 SoCal vets and good vets, very respected veterans. And Brandon Gatson is very intense.
He just looks like an
he
intense
is
guy.
so jacked.
He's even more jacked
And
now.
when you meet him in person, you're like, you are so much more jacked than you look. You were huge. And he's there and he wears jeans and he has really legit boots. And he was the guy in SoCal for a long time.
Yes.
And he was just he's very quiet into himself. And he's like, yeah, we'll figure this and this out. He's like, how's it going, guys? Yeah, I got my jeans on, my boots on, ready to go. We'll call this match in a minute. I gotta go do something over there. All right. We had met SoCal Crazy before.
Very nice.
He's the nicest dude in the whole world. He's like, we'll just do whatever, man. Yeah. But he's so good.
He's
very
good.
good. Very good.
Super nice, super
giving too. And you cool stuff here.
We definitely have these weird nerves, and we're and he's not liking any of the ideas, and he's like, nah, not that. It's got to be really intense, and there's got to be a shift in momentum, and he's real passionate about calling this match. And I'm like, man, I can't get a read on it. And then we kind of get a feel of the ending, and then I lay on and then double stunners, and then 1, 2, 3, and he's like, yeah, I think that's good. I go, oh. Well, then how will we win? And it was just silence.
I thought Brendan was just going to be murdered in front of me.
It was just silence because he was like, ha, that's funny. And then he was the most pleasant person to call a match with. And we were just joking around the whole rest of we went in a separate room and we were just fooling around the whole time. I was like, oh my God.
I will say, I will always be annoyed by it because I'm an over intense guy. But we talked about it in another episode we did when we wrestled Damian Drake and Matt Vandergriff. Imagine me trying to call a match. Me being
you were goofing off that whole time too.
There's 3 Brendans, and so then I loosened up and ended up being the most fun match I've ever called in my life. Calling it because when Brendan did his gimmick, Matt goes, oh shoot, I guess we have to redo the whole thing.
Well, Matt and I had a joke at Ground Zero where whenever he'd go out, I'd be like, because he'd always go and have crazy singles matches.
Another classic Brendanism.
Whenever he runs out, I'd be like, oh man, did you already wrestle? He'd be like, yeah. And I was like, oh, I forgot to run in. I forgot to come save you.
So anytime anyone's leaving a locker room, Brendan will go, let me know about my run in. I was like, Brendan, you don't have a run in.
All right. I asked people if they won. And you know who my favorite person is? I've only done it to a couple of times because I only wrestled on a few shows. Is whenever I do it to Gris Bay, he'd always be like, nah, man, they keep bringing me in. I just coming up short. I don't know what the deal is. And he'd sit, he'd
he vibe with you on it.
He'd riff on me on the joke.
Yeah.
People who take my a joke like that and then they run with it. Those are my favorite people. Wrestling's supposed to be fun. And if the locker room is not fun, sometimes it totally works against me because people are like, you're not funny. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not funny. I'm sorry. You're right. But a lot of times,
I've never seen it backfire. I've seen people get frustrated, but we're always in a tag situation. So people just go, I'll just talk to you. And I go, okay.
I always see it as a good litmus test. And that's why I like it now. If they go with it, I was like, this is going to be fun. If they don't go with it, I was like, this is going to be a pain.
That is true because
if they don't understand, then they're stupid. Because that has happened before. Where I made that joke and they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, never mind.
Dude,
Oh my God.
oh, so upset.
Because I look at
I'm going to go talk to the booker right now. I'm going over here.
Yeah, well, because
The one
I've,
time we wrestled Batman, remember that time?
but yeah, 'cause
And Robin.
when we wrestled
We're
True
tag team.
Grit and we wrestled like 8-bit and stuff like that, like it was always like, okay,
Yeah, yeah.
fine. And I'm always sitting there like, but
Everyone knows my secret now.
yeah,
I
it's
know.
super funny. So now everyone's gonna be doing that at shows. I can't wait till someone does it to you.
I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be stoked.
Dang it.
I don't know how I'm going to feel because I'm going to do it first. People are going to forget.
All right, so we're wrapping up. We've gone a while, and I want to make sure our batteries don't die on all of our things, and we'll probably have to have Moon back because we can
This
talk
is
for
not at
long.
all what I thought these episodes were going to be, but you bring it out of me. You bring out the
Good. That's what it needs.
nonsense.
So Moon,
Yeah.
let's fire off. I'm gonna do a couple rapid fire questions.
All right.
Okay.
Brown or blue?
Brown.
Thank you. Those are the two colors that came to mind. I don't know.
Okay. So we can. I was gonna do name association. Like I say a name and you have to say a word that comes to mind. But I think I'm just gonna rattle off questions instead. That would be
Okay.
more fun.
Okay.
Okay. What is your favorite match that you've wrestled in? That you can think of, because that's like an
That
impossible.
I could
That's
think
like
of
asking what someone what
right-
their favorite movie is.
Oh man. Right now, right off the top of my head, is that tag match we all had.
Really?
Yeah, like right now on the spot.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What is your favorite place outside of Millennium to work?
I really enjoy Maverick and I really enjoy Ground Zero. Those
Okay.
are my favorite.
Cool. Right on. All right. Who's your favorite opponent? That's not one of us.
Yeah, not sitting here. Ray Rosas.
I feel like that, you can't use that one either.
You can't use that one either.
Not counting.
Because that's my favorite opponent too.
Okay.
No, mine's. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Che. That's not.
Well, okay. I would say you gotta pick none of the hate guys and none of us. Now that's a different question because
Well, then we'll change it. We'll go with who's your most high profile match with?
There you go. That's better. Who do you think is the biggest star you've wrestled?
Brian Cage.
Brian Cage.
Yeah. Easy.
Either him or Luchasaurus,
Oh yeah.
because we did the tag match. with
Yeah,
him.
yeah. So one of them
I
too.
don't even count that as like wrestling Luchasaurus.
Okay. Those are my two questions.
If you had to meet a famous person in your house, they just were there, who would it be?
Chris Jericho.
See, there you go. There you go.
Anyway.
If you could get signed right now, where would you want to go?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh man.
New Japan, AEW, WWE,
Every promotion ever.
CMLL.
Did they sign people to
Okay.
CMLL?
Okay. It would be WWE with the obviously going to the Performance Center because then you get to learn from Shawn Michaels.
True. That's a dream.
Yeah, that's true.
Although AEW seems way more fun.
Who knows?
And like I know people who
I
are,
know,
mean,
right?
I know people who are in WWE now, I guess too.
Yeah. Right.
But like I know a lot more people in AEW.
yeah, I feel like there's people I know of that
Well,
are in
it
WWE, but
depends.
I wouldn't say people I like actually like could walk up and say, and they would know who I am.
It kind of like, do you want to have a more learning or do you want to have more fun? That's how I see it. So it's kind of a toss up.
Anyway, well, Daniel Moon, thanks for being on the podcast. You're the best guest we've had so far.
I'm meant to keep it that way for a while.
And
No way. As soon as we get Ray on, you're out.
like,
I know.
share,
Subscribe.
Please like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube channel, Brendan and Danny Devine.
and let us
on
know
YouTube.
who you want on the podcast.
Audio podcast coming soon. And once our pro wrestling t-shirts website finally starts
They have to
working,
email me back, but yes.
then we'll be plugging that as well.
Yeah,
We'll see y'all next time.
And we have a new millennial shirt in the works. So,
We do, and it's going to be so sick.
anyways, all right.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Daniel.
You're welcome.